Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be reviewing and demoing and giving kind of like a first impression on the new KKW Concealer, Conceal, Define, and Set or Bake or something like that, a little trio. Now personally I've never tried anything from the KKW line, just nothing really kind of drew my eye, nothing really was like eye-catching enough. However, I do really love concealers. So concealers and setting powders and things like that are things that I would pretty much always buy from pretty much any company. However, the last time that I did a Kylie concealer review, you guys were receptive. You just were like, I'm not giving Kylie any of my coins, which I completely respect anyone that has that opinion. However, I'm just not one of those people. I feel like if it's a beauty brand and it's pretty reputable, I'm kind of like, what am I trying to say? I'm gonna pretty much buy it. Like I'll most likely buy it, especially since I'm a beauty vlogger and I don't get sent a lot of products. Buying something like this is important to me, so that way I can stay on trend and stay relevant and make sure that I'm reviewing and giving it first impressions and things like that on new hot relevant products. So I am looking forward to see how this works. I haven't watched any reviews on it, so this is a complete 100% all me, not non-biased review. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, then please keep on watching. So before we get started, I do have foundation and primer on my skin already, a little bit of lip balm, and obviously my brows filled in. Other than that, I don't have anything on. Also, if you're not already subscribed, then please go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that way you don't miss out on any videos. But the concealer, well, the packaging first off looks like this. So you have a concealer package, you have a, okay, is it not gonna focus? So you have a concealer package, a setting powder, and then a loose powder. It's not gonna focus. I don't know what it's doing, but it's in a blush kind of nude packaging. Very sleek, very just like neutral, natural, it's just overall sleek. It's very kinky, I guess you could say. So the shade in the concealer that I bought is shade number 12. So I'm very skeptical about this shade just because the swatches that I saw weren't the most they weren't the best, I guess you could say. I just didn't really know what shade I wanted to go with, and I didn't want to buy two different concealers. Although these concealers only retail for 18 bucks, so less than the Kylie concealers, I was just like, one of them should work. So I'm gonna swatch the shade number 12 on the back of my hand. And first thought is it's a little bit more warm, but it also has some golden yellow hues. It reminds me of the Tarte Shape Tape in medium / deep, that shade. This formulation is a lot thicker, and the wand is also a double-ended wand, so it looks like this, kind of like most lip products are coming out with, and like the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer came out with. It has that double-ended application, so you can swipe on one side, flip it over to the other, and use that concealer on the other side. It's just using a little bit more concealer, but you're only having to pump it once. So it's just a really overall good wand that I feel like all concealer should have. So on first swatch, it is a little bit thicker of a consistency. It kind of reminds me of like the Makeup Revolution concealer, where it's thicker, but like now that I blended it out, it's dried down to a matte formulation, so it's pretty matte, and that did, however, blend into my skin very well. The foundation that I put on my skin today is the NYX Total Coverage Foundation in the shade Deep Sable. So this is the foundation that I like to use just because it looks the most skin-like, and it looks like it's the best color match. So I'm gonna do one eye and then blend that out and everything, just because it does dry pretty fast. So I don't want to be working and then have to blend that out. It looks very light on the skin. I'm gonna blend that out with my beauty blender. So upon looking at the viewfinder and looking in person, this concealer isn't as full coverage as I like my concealers to be, and it's a bit too warm. As you can see, it's a bit too yellow. So on my skin, like, it just looks way too yellow, and maybe I need to go up to shade 13. But I'm using both sides of this wand as well, and it's not, like the Kai concealer, I can put both of those on and it blends out and it's full coverage. This one I feel like I'm gonna have to like build it up to get like my desired like conceal. I don't know, this side looks like, let me apply a little bit more. This side looks like it took a little less off of the skin. But is it buildable though? That's the question. Okay, it is buildable. I'm gonna apply some on the tip and the bridge of my nose. Just pretty much where I always highlight, so the forehead, chin, and the disco, around the nose. The only downfall that I'm finding with this concealer is it's just way too yellow. It's just too yellow. I don't know. I want to like this concealer, but I know it's gonna be something that I'm gonna have to use with another concealer to like lighten and brighten, because it's just not like the best shade. Okay, so now that we're done with the concealer, I'm actually gonna put a little bit more on the nose just because it's not looking very full coverage on the nose. I do, however, like that this concealer is buildable. So you can go in with multiple layers and it's not gonna get like crusty and dusty and all of that. However, I don't like at the same time that I have to build it up as far as my liking. So I believe it's conceal, bake, and then set. So I'm assuming that you're supposed to bake next. So now I'm going to use the baking powder, which looks like this. Once again, just like sleek and just elegant. I love the acrylic clear packaging. I don't see a lot of that with the KKW in that tan kind of color. It's very, very, very pretty. I like how just minimalistic she is and her brand is. It's really, really good. Okay, so this powder that goes with this concealer, so 12 is the max for shade number 3, and then once you go to 13 you get a different shade, which is a little bit more orangey, and I knew that wouldn't look good on my skin tone, so it was kind of like, do I get a really light yellow shade or do I get a darker orange shade? And personally I feel like my skin tone is just a little bit too light right now for my winter shade to go with the more orangey, like topaz type of consistency. So I decided to go with this one. So we're gonna see how this goes. And this concealer has creased on me. So I'm going to just tap that in and bake that. It's a very, very fine powder. So now I'm just gonna pounce that in. And this has completely lightened up my concealer, like even more. Like this powder is so silky fine. Like it's a really good powder consistency, especially for a loose powder. It blends into the skin really, 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 really well. But as you can see, like it's starting to get a little Casper the Friendly Ghost, especially for this shade. I feel like she should have come out with a couple more in between shades. Like this yellow shade is nice, but it's when you're getting into like the dark to medium dark, I feel like she kind of left that section out because she targeted towards like the dark deep with the more orangey kind of like Ben Nye's banana powder and shoot, I can't think of that name, but it's the dark one, not the banana. But this one is a little bit too banana, like the Benign Banana Powder. And I feel like I needed something like the Sasha where it has a little bit more yellow golden hues in it and not like orange or like white. So I just feel like this was just a little too light for my my skin category, but maybe next time, Kim. Like, I don't know. And the third and final step of this, maybe it'll look a little bit better once I like bronze and like put some bluish on and like some highlighter. But so far, like, I'm kind of looking a little ghostly. Like, in person it doesn't look that bad, but on camera it's like, okay, like the camera doesn't give anything. But the Brighten shade is exactly the same. It's just, once again, in that really cute, sleek acrylic packaging. I'm gonna take my Sigma F45, tap off the excess, and oh my god, no fucking way. Ah! No! I played myself. You guys, this just fucked everything up, and I just want to apply like more because I want to see if it's gonna do it everywhere else. Okay, so my under eye, you guys can't see it. Can you see all of that, all my texture that showed through, all my texture and like the dry patches that this is clinging to? Like, okay, so this last Brighten powder is a fucking mess. Like, oh my god, like that. Okay, so the baking was fine. Like, I could make that work by setting and refreshing my face and all of that. But once I use this damn Brighten powder, that fucked me up. I'm gonna finish off my face. I'm pretty much done giving a first impression on all of these. Finish off my face and then come back with like some final thoughts, all that jazz. I'll be right back. All right, you guys, so couple of my final thoughts. I've thought this over while I was doing the rest of my face. I obviously bronzed, blushed, and then highlighter and mascara and a little bit of lip gloss. But my thoughts, is the concealer buy worthy? No. There are so many other concealers out there that do either the same thing or better. So some of my favorites are the Makeup Revolution concealer, which is $8, so it's $10 cheaper than this concealer. The Tarte Shape Tape, which I know a lot of you guys aren't on Tarte anymore, but I still love that concealer. The Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer is amazing, amazing, amazing. And like the LA Girl Pro Conceal, I love that concealer too. Those are some of my 4 top reached for concealers. I would personally, honestly, go with the Kai concealers over the KKW concealers. I like those a little bit more. They were more full coverage. The consistency was a little bit easier to blend and a lot more creamy. And the shade range was just a smidge, like that shade range was a smidge worse than this one, but I would still go with that one. I have to mix Sassafras and Almond together to get like a good shade. This shade was not bad. As you can see, it gives me that bright, awake kind of lit from within kind of glow. As you can see, my chin, under eye, and the nose is pretty darn bright. And after I bronzed and everything, it didn't look that bad. But while I was concealing and highlighting, it was like terrifying. I was like, I don't know how my makeup is gonna turn out. So I don't like feeling like that when I'm doing my makeup, especially my face makeup, because I'm like, what is really going on? Like, what's really good? You know, like, am I gonna have to take all of this off or not? Like, it was just confusing. However, I did like the setting powder. The setting powder, very, very finely milled. I took some on my hand and it just melted like butter. It blended into the skin well as well. I just didn't like the kind of ghosty, casket ready frost that it gave off. Not frost, I should say cast that it gave off. It's just a little bit too light for my skin tone, and that is where I would suggest to Kim KKW and whomever else she is working with to create a shade in between number 3 and number 4. Maybe like a 3.5. It's a little bit more golden, a little bit more yellow for us medium or us dark to deep skin tones that don't like to use a more orange setting powder and don't really want a really light Midnight Banana Powder setting powder. This shade is very similar to the Black Radiance loose setting powder that I featured in my drugstore prom makeup tutorial. So if you've seen that and if you have that, then that is a great dupe, both very finely milled and both around the same skin tone range. And the setting powder, trash. Like, I would throw this away. I don't remember how much this one was by itself, but you don't need this at all. It gave my skin, it just dried out my under eye. It made everything noticeable. Like, it just wasn't good. You guys saw, I was like, yeah, no. All you need is the concealer and the setting powder and the baking powder, and that is it. You don't even need to brighten because the concealer and the setting powder are so bright already. But if you do get the brightening powder because you like a little bit more bright under eye, this is how it would pretty much look. And then I just set that with, or refreshed it with a MAC Fix Plus. This is a mini one that I did like a DIY video on, and just refreshed it, and now my skin looks healthy, it looks glowy, it doesn't look like I'm like dying or something like that. So the brightening powder is gone, but everything else was pretty decent. Like I said, there are some things, some room for improvements, as there are for everything. However, I wouldn't, like, I'm not gonna be like, go out and buy this right now. Like, it's doable without. But if you like to stay on trend and you film YouTube videos, things of that sort, go ahead and review it. I would love to know your thoughts, all of that stuff. The concealer is 18, the setting powder I believe was 18, and I think the brightening powder was 18 as well, or 24 or something like that. So anywhere between the 18 to 24 range. So pretty darn pricey for these things. Well, no, I won't even say that. It's in line with high-end beauty. So my Sasha is about $20, and concealer is anywhere between $18 to $24, and then a setting powder is anywhere between $18 to $24 as well. So it's right on target with what other brands are pricing their products at. So I commend her for staying on price point and everything like that. But let me know your thoughts, what you thought down below. I'd love to know what you guys were thinking when I was thinking all of that. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe before you go, and I will see you guys in the next video. Mwah. Bye guys.